Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Dustin Grace, and today we are going to do a game discussion. We're finally going to talk about this one, Fallout 4, for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and for Steam, PC, all that jazz. Um, where to even begin with this one? I was really looking forward to this. Fallout 3 was one of my favorite experiences of the last generation. New Vegas, it kind of didn't live up to the hype for me. Maybe it was too soon after Fallout 3. Maybe it was something to do with Obsidian being part of it and their games always being kind of glitchy. But I do want to go back and give New Vegas another shot, but New Vegas never really did it for me. And then when they announced this was coming, I was like, oh man, Bethesda getting a hold of the PS4, Xbox One architecture, that new strong system, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. Maybe marred a little bit by some technical snafus, but nothing really game breaking. So it's just kind of like a more of a kind of a missed opportunity type thing than anything else. But once again, I just had a ball exploring the wasteland, uh, molding my character, answering the conversation trees the way I would do it personally if I was there, and crafting my story. That's the great thing about the Fallout and Elder Scrolls games, is that at the end of the day, it really does feel like your story. Kind of the same way like Mass Effect and stuff like that. That's one of the strengths of Western RPGs, is that it really draws you in and makes it your personal thing. Whereas Japanese RPGs really tell a really strong narrative. Western RPGs make it more your story, more of like a choose your own adventure thing. And one is not better than the other. It's just a nice different flavor. So where to begin with this one? I guess we can talk about the storyline a little bit, but really, aside from the main storyline, everyone's story in this is going to differ a little bit because you're going to do different quests, you're going to focus on different things. But the main gist of the storyline is it starts in 2077 before the bombs dropped in the Fallout mythos. And you kind of get to see what life was like before the Holocaust happened, the nuclear Holocaust happened. And you actually get to witness the day the bombs began. And that's a really cool thing, a really nice way to draw you in. A Vault Tech salesman comes and sells you a spot in the local vault, and it's a good thing you buy that, because actually an interesting thing is you can like not buy it and then the bombs drop and you die, and that could be one of your endings to the game. That's pretty amazing. But if you buy the vault insurance, you of course go to the vault, and as with any vault, they are kind of notorious. There's always a secret experiment going on in each of them, and in this one, it just happens to be cryogenic freezing, and your main character is frozen kind of against his will and propelled 200 years into the future, and from there on, the events spread out. And I don't want to give too much of the storyline away in case some people don't know what happens, but I was really intrigued by the storyline. I thought it had a really good emotional pull and had some pretty good twists along the way. And I know, like, in my early thoughts of the game, I was preparing to do one thing, but then when I got to the end of it, I started thinking about, well, what would I do really in this situation? I ended up doing something completely different and siding with a different faction, because you come across four factions that I found. There might be a fifth that I don't know about, but one of them doesn't really factor into the ending as far as I saw. So really, you only have three factions to worry about, and depending on how you choose, you can take the wasteland in different, the Commonwealth, I should say, because it is set in Boston, in different directions. Though maybe I just didn't do something right, but the ending seems kind of boilerplate. So it's really, I guess, kind of make your own ending to it, because the game doesn't really end. Because once you beat the game, your character starts back off. You're at the same level and everything, and you can go do the rest of the quests that you missed and explore places, except for the other factions that you don't choose, because they become your permanent enemy by siding with a different faction. So that kind of lends some weight to the decisions in this game. That's what I've always liked about the Elder Scrolls and Fallout, is that it does feel like your choices matter, especially like in Fallout 3 with the megaton choice, if you choose to blow it up or keep it. The choices do matter, it does seem like. So I do like that aspect of the game. But, all the side quests, all the crazy characters you meet, this is one of the great storylines in games. It's just, if you're used to, like, JRPGs like I am, it's a different way of telling a story, and you kind of piece it all together yourself, and I kind of like that. But the main quest line, storyline thing is a really interesting quest. It does have some gut punching decisions, and I was really impressed with it. Gameplay wise, if you've played a Fallout game, well, I should say if you played Fallout 3 or New Vegas, you know exactly what to expect. If you, or an Elder Scrolls game for that matter. If you haven't, it's kind of like a first-person shooter with RPG elements and a system that you called the VAT system, that you can choose where to attack an enemy. Like if you want to shoot their arms so their accuracy goes down, if you want to shoot their legs so they can't chase after you. There's different things you can do in the VAT system, and it's really nice. One of the things that a lot of people have been complaining about is that in this game, VATS is not a pause. In the old games, it was a hard pause, allowed you to kind of think of what you wanted to do. In this, it just slows time down. So you still need to have an idea of what you want to do when you go into VATS. But I had no problem with it. There's only a few times that I actually got attacked while in VATS, so not a big deal. The big thing that I really dug about this game, and it kind of goes along the lines of Metal Gear Solid, some of the later games in that series. You can build your own settlements in this. You sort of liberate areas that have what's called workstations, and then you can build houses, you can build power plants, you can build defenses, all this stuff, and there's a ton of them to do. And for some reason, there'd be days where I would just sit there and play it for 4 or 5 hours, and I'd do nothing but the settlement stuff. It gets really addictive. The interface for it on the PS4 and probably the Xbox One too. I'm not sure about Steam. It's probably works a little bit better on computer, but the interface for it is a little bit lacking. But at the same time, I got super addicted to it. I want to try to get one of my. I haven't got one of my settlements to 100% happiness yet. That's one of the trophies, is to get to 100% happiness. But I still have my save. I can go back and do that at any point in time. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty much Fallout kind of by the numbers, which is not a bad thing. I actually really like that it's very similar to Fallout 3. There's a lot of little improvements and stuff. The gunplay feels a lot better. You don't feel as reliant on VATS in this one. In fact, I really only used VATS when I was having a hard time finding enemies. I would just kind of hit the VAT button. And if I targeted something, then I knew where the enemy was, and then I'd go back to normal and just kind of snipe it and things like that. You can do a lot of different gameplay styles in this. You can do melee, which actually a lot of the legendary weapons, that's something that's new in this game, is that there's legendary monsters and legendary loot. So it kind of gives you more of an MMO feel. But more of the legendary loot that I found was either armor or melee weapons. So it kind of feels like the game is steering you in a melee direction, as opposed to guns, which if you make a melee character, you're probably going to have a great time because there's a ton of melee legendary weapons that are really powerful to get. But for me, I liked using sort of mid-range rifles, and I made a really awesome sniper rifle, and that was probably my favorite gun. I just like to sneak up on a place, kind of in the same way as Far Cry, to sneak up on a base or something, and then just slowly snipe them with my suppressed sniper rifle so they didn't know where I was firing from. Really satisfying to sort of take over places like that. Like in the other Fallout games, you have companions. There's a ton of them, and they each kind of have their own quest line. Well, not all of them. I can figure out like a quest line for Dogmeat, but a lot of them have their own quest lines, and you can sort of explore their storylines as well. One of the best ones is Nick Valentine, who is a synth detective that lives in Diamond City, which is actually Fenway Park in Boston. A really awesome idea that they would build a city inside the baseball diamond. Really kind of an awesome thing. But yeah, you can explore these NPC characters' backstories and sort of the world itself, and kind of get a good idea of, exactly what the Commonwealth is like. And that's one of the strong things about this game, is that it kind of forces you to go to different areas and kind of see how the landscape has changed and stuff like that. Really awesome. One of the other things is you can or you can acquire and then sort of build power armor, which I think a lot of people really dug. The fact that you can find a suit of power armor and mod it up, and you can do a lot of gun mods and things like that. I mean, for people who like to customize stuff, this is sort of a dream game, because you can customize the settlements, you can customize your guns, you can customize your power armor. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff to do aside from all the quests and things like that. In your towns, you can set up shops and try to earn money or earn caps that way. I mean, this is one of those games that you have to set time aside for. You can't just play like 2 hours here and there. Like, you really need to spend a lot of time with it. And it rewards you for doing that. I mean, by the end of the game, I was feeling super powerful, not scared of anything. But in the beginning stages of the game, I was terrified of going around the corner and finding super mutants, and then I just run away because I'm like, I'm not ready to deal with a pack of super mutants yet. But yeah, if by now, if you've not played a Fallout game or an Elder Scrolls game, it's just a big open world that just begs you to explore it. And it's really awesome just to kind of go around that next corner and see what that next thing was going to be, or to go out into the glowing sea where the Ground Zero was and just see how fucked up that place is. Just some really awesome things to do in this game. As far as the graphics go, the graphics is where I feel like a lot of people are kind of giving this game shit, because I think it does use the same engine as like New Vegas and Fallout 3 and Sky, or maybe not those ones, but it definitely uses the same engine as Skyrim, I think. And it's just kind of upscaled for the PS4. So it's not the greatest looking PS4 game. But remember, when you're talking about a game like this, you're not really talking about like high fidelity graphics that you're going to get in like a Killzone game or something where you're just going down corridors. This game has so much scale that I am okay with there being, slightly muddy textures everywhere, because the game doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad at all. Maybe it does look like a little bit better of a PS3 game. But then when you start to realize just how big the game is on a horizontal scale and on a vertical scale, it's pretty insane. Pretty insane. I'm getting ready to start Xenoblade, and that's going to be fucking huge too. But it's pretty insane how big these open world games are getting nowadays. Like, if they do an Elder Scrolls 6 with an all new engine, I don't even know how my brain's going to handle that. But Fallout 4, yeah, maybe the graphics are not as good as they should be for a next gen system. But at the same time, when you take into account the scale, you can't beat that. There was some graphical glitches. Probably the craziest thing I ever saw was in New Vegas, where like a rad scorpion collapsed into the ground and it was just its head sticking out of the ground, like shaking. But I had like people's faces disappear and just strange, weird things. Like, there was one where I was running around with Deacon, one of the NPCs, and like his entire body flipped underneath the ground. So I saw his shoes, like the bottom of his shoes walking along the bottom of the ground, but he was like completely underground. And I had to I think I just paused the game, or no, I had to fast travel out of there, and then he popped back up as normal. But there are some little graphical hiccups. I did have the game crash on me once, but Fallout teaches you pretty quick save a lot. The game auto saves, but it doesn't auto save a whole hell of a lot. So you want to get into the pause menu and use that quick save every now and then. And if you're like me and you just save like every, 10 minutes or so, you shouldn't, backtrack too far if you die. But graphically, not as good as it could have been, but people are bitching about the stupidest things. You know, it's a good looking game. Audio wise, I was actually pretty impressed with all the musical selections that I heard running through the Wasteland. I was pretty impressed with all the voice acting. Um, and just the orchestral score itself, I thought was pretty good. I thought the opening song for the title menu was pretty good. Sometimes, you know, just the way these games are, because you have to choose your dialogue trees and stuff like that, you know, a character will talk, you know, very normal one way, and then you make a selection, it's like, oh, I don't like you anymore. You know, it gets a little jarring that way, but you're always going to get those with those sort of choose your own adventure style games. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about Fallout 4. I think most people who are interested in this game have probably picked this up because this is one of those sort of linchpin games. Like, you know, like everybody has to get Fallout 4 because it is that good of an experience. And it really is. It has an amazing amount of hype for it. But at the same time, it totally lives up to that hype. And of course, I haven't started Xenoblade yet. But right now, this is the game to beat for the game of the year because just the amount of stuff you can do, the amount of exploration you can do, I mean, just everything. This is just a difficult one to beat, and I mean, even now I'm still thinking like, you know, there's so many more places that I didn't explore that I really need to go explore. But I finished the main storyline of it. I need to put it up for a little bit, and maybe I'll come back to it a little bit later and find some more things to do in it because, you know, I put about maybe, I don't know, I probably put about 70 hours into it, maybe. It doesn't really give you like a counter to tell you how much, but you know, I still feel like I've barely scratched the surface. So it is a huge game. Like you could probably put like 300 hours into it and maybe see everything. I don't know. But yeah, if you're looking for a game that just gives you endless options to play sort of your way, Fallout 4, really a great game. Just fantastic. So anyway, that is it for that game. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.